is
Wow.
kind of T-boned, and he's got a brain injury.
Oh, we're live.
Yeah. Oh, you're live? No.
It's weird because it didn't let me name it.
Are we live now?
Yeah, we're live.
live.
Yeah.
What do we want to be live? What are we talking about?
We're
Hey,
talking
everybody.
Summer
Thank you for
Solstice.
joining us. So, am I breaking up or you can just...
Oh, we're good. We're good. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you guys for joining us today, the Lightworkers Secret to Success channel. We decided that since tomorrow is Summer Solstice, that we would talk about the energy and just some of the things that are related to that. And because most people think of it, it's the first day of summer, right? So it's the longest day of the year. But there is so much more energetically that goes along with that. And so we're just going to kind of talk about some of those things today. And sorry, I had to turn the other one so I didn't have echoes. So we want to talk about just the summer solstice and some of the things to look for. One of the energies of the solstice is, like we talk about speaking up, speaking truth, because that's something so many people don't do. They don't speak up for themselves, and they don't, and you can do that in a good way. It doesn't have to be rude or anything. You can speak up and speak your truth. To me, I think that's really cool for this time of year, for this energy that's coming right now. It's just talking change your daily health, your well-being, long-term abundance supply. And for us, we're always talking about manifesting in abundance and stuff. So looking at this is the time that we can really look at those habits that we can create. So like if you haven't started meditating, that might be one that you can look at, doing some meditation, doing some, abundance work. It's just varied. So we're looking at things like that. What kind of thing you guys do? And whoever speak out first, that can manifesting for abundant mindset. What type of things do you have?
So what I kind of do is usually before I go to bed at night is I'll focus on the intention of receiving an abundance of money. And I've already asked for it. I've already made it clear to the universe on the amount of money that, I have an expectation of receiving. I'm just, before I go to bed at night, I say, I'm just in the allowance now of receiving that money. So whenever you feel like it's the right time to deliver it, I'm ready to receive it. So that's one of the things that I do. And throughout the day, sometimes, when I have a brief moment, or I'll put things on my phone, like little reminders, saying always be in allowance of receiving the things I've asked for. And I know one of those things is money, the amount of money that I've received or that I am receiving. So kind of like, I've dialed into Amazon and placed my order for to the Amazon of the universe and, placed my order. And now I'm just waiting for UPS to drop it off. So I'm just waiting for it to come. What do you do?
Awesome, Adam. It's awesome. The other thing is like when you're doing that, because I know you stay and you and Amanda both stay in that space of the creative energy. And so it also talks about following through on inspirations, because a lot of times we get in the mindset of being optimistic and we might get that inspiration, but we don't follow through on those promptings. So this is a good time to do that as well. Who else wants to share?
I kind of do the same thing Adam does. One thing we were reading last night, Being You Changing the World is Now the Time by Dr. Dane here. And we just read this last night where it says, like, if you want something, don't ask for it and then say, oh, it didn't show up, because then the universe is like, oh, they don't want it anymore. So they stop what's coming to you. just ask for it and just trust and believe that it's coming. So that's one thing I think we all have a hard time with is knowing when to be patient and just always trying to be in that high vibration and that flow for the abundance to come. So just being in that vibration, being in that frequency, and just having trust and faith that what you have asked for is coming to you.
Well, I know when you get into like The Secret, and we've all listened to it, read the book, or, watched the DVD or whatever, and she says it's 3 simple steps to take, and I always remember ABR: ask, believe, and receive. So the first thing is you need to be clear about what you're asking for. The second step is you need to believe that you can actually receive whatever it is that you're asking for. And then the last step, which is usually the easiest, but probably the hardest for most people, is, are you ready to receive it? Do you have if you think about the Amazon analogy, you've gone on Amazon, you typed your order in, you paid for it. Now you're waiting for UPS to drop it off on your front doorstep. So you actually have that widget or whatever you bought, right? How many people, when they try to manifest, they miss that last step, or they miss the second step? I mean, it's easy to ask, but do you really believe that you deserve what you're asking for? And are you ready to receive what you're asking for? And most people are not.
And I'll tell you why. Go ahead if you want to finish.
I was just going to say, like, Rebecca, you've just written a whole course about this, right?
Right. I wrote a course, and I also put out a video that came out today on my Inner Power Training YouTube channel called Manifesting Secrets: How to Manifest Anything for Beginners. And it's very short. It's only 3-4 minutes almost. But these master manifestors, like Jesus could turn, and I believe he really did this. He was able to take a few loaves of bread and a few fish and feed 5,000 people. He was able to stop the storm when they were on a boat. Other masters can do the same things. If you read that book series that I talked about in the last video called Teachings of the Masters of the Far East, there have been people in Tibet, India, that part of the world that belong to secret mind, yogic, spiritual groups where they practice these things. Now, why are people able to manifest better than others? Because they're able to get rid of all those negative emotions that pop in that say, oh, you're not going to be able to do this, or, you're not big, you're not good enough, or, fear comes in, doubt comes in, even depression, like it'll never happen for me. And what you have to do is know how to create the world within yourself where everything else is shut out. Mm-hmm. It's all shut out. You have to get your personality and your ego out of the way and just totally create with your imagination the world within your imagination that you so desire. And if you do it consistently and you release it, you have to release it because, we live in a multiverse. There are all these parallel universes. There's already you that has that brand new car or that, situation that you're desiring, because you wouldn't be thinking about it if it wasn't already happening in another dimension. So you just have to bring it into this experience by accepting it, believing it, trusting it, and knowing it. Knowing goes beyond believing. There's a statement, belief turns into understanding. When you understand how it works, and it's not a mystery anymore. I mean, there's always going to be mysteries because we're humans with human minds. But when you tap into higher intelligence, you begin to get all the answers. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cool.
That's really true. Like saying that this weekend, my heart and I watched a movie, The Guardians of, it's about the owls. And there's one piece in there when the little owl is learning how to fly through a storm. And the wiser, older owl keeps telling him to, follow his gizzard. And I'm watching it, and we've watched it several times throughout the last, 4 or 5 years. I don't know. But all of a sudden I got this download because it was like, okay, so what he's saying to this owl is follow your intuition,
Mm, that's
right?
nice.
Follow your intuition. And at one point the owl falls, he messes up, and he's talking to him overwards afterwards, and he's saying, well, I was doing it, and then all of a sudden I got afraid. He's, in other words, you got into your head, you started overthinking. You let your mind tell you. And I thought, it was like so crystal clear. It's like, as long as we're staying in the flow, as long as we're trusting and believing what we're getting in our intuition, that we know. And so it's like you said, Rebecca, if you didn't already have it, you wouldn't be desiring it, right? It's you
Right.
got it on some plane or some existence. So just sticking with that flow and that belief, and then not getting into our heads.
Exactly. And, it's fun to manifest material things in the material world. But I think when a lot of people have moved along in the metaphysical realm, they kind of let that go and they just accept that whatever they need every day will show up, be it money, food, housing, the right thing will show up at the right time, as long as they're doing their work, they're living from their higher self.
Yeah. And I was just watching an Instagram reel. I think it was just yesterday. And one of the things I think is important to know is, first of all, don't talk about your goals out loud to other people.
Right.
And the reason is that they're going to try to shoot you down, persuade you, do anything. What you want to do is maybe have them written down. And when you do achieve it, scream from the top of the mountaintop on social media, wherever you want to do it, saying, I finally completed this goal. I can't believe how awesome it is.
Mm-hmm.
And this was the Instagram thing that I pulled out. It said, your own family will talk shit about you when you're in the process of breaking generational curses.
Absolutely. Everybody experiences that's on the path.
Just think about that just for a moment. That's your own family. This is your own blood, and they'll do it.
Get your head around it.
Yeah.
But they're not awake. They're not enlightened.
Exactly. It's so critical that you understand that, and that you accept it for where it's at, and just stay focused in on the things that you need to stay focused in on. Be true to yourself, know what you've asked for, go back to the secret, ask, believe, receive. It's the easiest thing. Just remember ABR, 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 and just stay in that receiving mode once you've asked for it. Once you're in that receiving mode, you're believing that it's coming, no matter what, no matter how long it takes, that it's coming. And for me, that's just kind of how I go through things on my day-to-day. And, when this solstice hits, I love June 21st for whatever reason. I just feel so energized. It just, like, spring is all about new, and all these new, plants and flowers are coming up. And then it's like summertime's here. It's just like, yeah, now we can kind of get on. We don't have to worry about these cold days anymore. We're going to get into some heat waves. We're going to get into, summer fun. And so I hope that helps.
Yeah. Well, the other key thing to manifesting, I mean, bad people can manifest just as well as good people. But sometimes bad people manifest things and then they disappear real fast, because they didn't do it in the right way. That happens all the time. The ego takes over. Napoleon Hill talks about that in his books. The ones that think they're really rich, they're the easiest ones to take over by the devil, because they get tempted by all these crazy things. And so you have to always be working on yourself to move ahead and not slip back into the doldrums.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. And just like I said, we talked about being in the flow, staying in that part of being inspired and creative ideas, and being able to prosper that. And then for those of you who are really into crystals, rocks and stuff, the crystals that they really talk about for this season is sodalite, pyrite, and malachite. those will help focus your energy and stuff. I just love crystals and stuff anyway, so I've always got different types of rocks and stuff with me. But those can help you kind of just focus your energy. But the biggest thing, just take more of a disciplined leadership role in your life. You know, look at what area do you want to really manifest an improvement in. And the only thing that's standing in your way is you.
Yeah, we were reading financial fitness as well. Amanda and I read one book for 15 minutes, another book for another 15 minutes. Don't call us, we're a little weird. But we just committed to reading both of these books. And in there, Chris and Oren, they actually talk about being a master in a certain area. And, you know, don't move on until you're past that, until you've actually mastered that one thing. And I just,
was that last night?
yeah, it was the power of vision is what they were talking about. And so they said, the best investment you'll ever make is the investment on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has said it. And are you willing to invest money on yourself? What are you doing every single day to manifest, to invest into yourself? And are you a master at it? And it says, yeah, whatever you do, don't cut back on your brain investment.
Mm-hmm.
Just think about that for a moment. Are you doing everything you possibly can to keep growing? Because in nature, you're either growing or you're dying, period. And if you really want to manifest, when you're in the creation mode, think about all the things that you're creating. Think about the energy that's going through you. Like Rebecca, I look at you and the amount of things that you're doing on a day-to-day basis, like it's impressive. Like it really is. And you can tell the reason that you still look like you're in your, you know, late 40s, early 50s.
Thank you, Adam.
And I know your age. I honestly know your age, but I really mean that. It's because you're always about creating and manifesting and moving forward. It's your energy that keeps going. I know other people your age, and I mean, they look like they're in their 90s, like they can barely even walk. They can barely even do things. And it's just because that you're in that creation mode all the time. And if you're not in the creation mode, you're dying. And just think about that for a moment. And the great thing about that, if you know that you're dying, you can change it like that. All you have to do is start creating. All you have to do is just start creating.
Well, the other thing in the financial fitness book, to just kind of piggyback what Adam was talking about, is you can lose everything in life, but you'll never, ever lose your knowledge. So that's what I was talking about, brain knowledge, to never lose that. You'll always have everything that you've learned in your head, and it can always be beneficial to you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and going back to working on yourself, like I got to a point where I don't ever fear, people are always afraid, what if I lose it all? What if I, go bankrupt? And well, I've been there, done that in so many different ways. I realize you can always reinvent yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Always.
Mm-hmm.
And you can always find a solution using your intuition, like Pamela was talking about. Intuition is more important than intelligence. But to be able to organize your mind intelligently so you become a master of something. I mean, I just happen to love metaphysics. It's a good thing, because I know before I really found my purpose in 2004 and started teaching metaphysics, I felt a little off, like scattered and confused. And I kept applying for jobs and nothing would pan out, probably because I was being guided by my higher self to do something completely different.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't see it until that big aha moment when I finally saw it. But if you can just figure out what you're good at and what your passion is and what your purpose might be, you can do it as a part-time thing, and it might turn into a full-time thing, but it aligns everything else very nicely.
Well, I mean, and to go a little bit farther with that, if you're not getting the things that you want in life, everything that you're not getting later on in life, you'll see why you didn't get it and why it's not showing up, because there's always something bigger and better that the universe is working out for you. So if you find that you're not getting the things that you're asking for whatever reason. Maybe you weren't clear enough with your ask. Maybe you don't believe it enough, or maybe you're not ready to receive it. If you take, and this is a challenge, if you find yourself stuck, take 6 months. Anyone can do anything for 6 months. Get rid of all social media, get rid of everything out of your life that you can possibly get rid of, and just stay focused in on, that one thing that you really want. I will guarantee it'll show up in your life. You can reinvent yourself in 6 months. And if you're earning, less than $10,000 a month, if you want to earn way more than that, whatever your number is, 100,000, $1 million in a year, you can easily do it if you're focused for 6 months. So get rid of all distractions, anything there, and you'll be impressed on how fast you'll be able to manifest. It's just the clutter is the things that really start to get into our heads, or we have other people giving us other ideas, and then we lose focus in on what we're really asking for. And then the universe is like, oh, okay, well, I guess you really don't want that. You want this now. Right. And so that's why I think having a vision board is so important. Or if you really want something that's awesome, is positive prime. If you don't have positive prime, you're totally missing out, because it's like a vision board on steroids. We go through that every night before we go to bed usually. And I got to tell you, it's pretty awesome. Like anyways, it's so cool. If you want more information about positive prime, just let us know. But positive prime is the way to go.
You just gave me a little download. Well, I got a download when you're talking, but in the Bible, it says not to be double-minded. So like when we're asking, it says asking shall receive. But if you put those two things together and you're like, oh, I want this. And then all of a sudden you're not very clear and you change your mind, you are kind of being double-minded at that time. And then the universe is like, well, what do you want? You want this, or you want that? Like, tell me one or the other.
There's a book called The One Thing that a lot of people like us are reading right now. It's been out for a while. And that's what it focuses in on. You got to pick that one thing. And if you just do that for 6 months, like Adam says, you will get results. So that's why I
for sure
YouTube channel.
Well, that's why, like when we're doing our notebooks and listing all of our goals and everything we want to do, we always have a long-term goal, and then we break it down into chunks, right? So like maybe a 10-year, 5-year, 3-year, 2-year, 1 year, and then quarterly, then you have your weekly goals, and then you have your daily goals, right? And so for me, I always have a ton of goals that I want to accomplish. And I just take one at a time, focus on that. And I may do 1 or 2 little things with some other goals if it comes up that way. But I have reached and accomplished a lot of my goals doing that. Writing them down, I think, is the first thing, and checking them off, because that really helps me hold myself accountable. And it really helps me to stay in that frequency and that vibration of accomplishing goals.
And then visualizing them working out the way you want them to gives it that extra oomph. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
That's awesome, guys. Thank you guys for sharing and your input and stuff. And thank you guys for watching us today. If this is your first time you came across our channel, we're so glad you're here. Make sure you like the video if it appeals to you and resonates with you, and subscribe to our channel and hit that little notification button so that when we go live, you'll be notified. And again, thank you all, and thank you guys for being here today.
Bye.